Well, after reviewing my favourite out of the Matrix franchise, let's now talk about what is the first of the sequels, but is it as terrible as some people make it out to be? Well, let's find out and see.
Yo, dudes, the Empire's pretty chill. Maybe you could, join it or something.
Lucimus Prime here, so it is time for another review in my reviews for the Matrix trilogy, and today, guys, I'm going to be reviewing what is the second installment of a franchise, and this, of course, would be none other than 2003's The Matrix Reloaded, directed once again by the Wachowskis. So, now, when it comes to this film, guys, a lot of people may not really like it, really, as much as the original movie, but I'm going to be honest, guys, and say right off the bat that I actually do love this sequel, and I think it's very underrated, and in my opinion, does not deserve the hate, so yeah. And this and the next sequel are two films I like to defend as best I can, and yeah, so I'm going to be reviewing this movie, so yeah. Now, when it comes to this movie, so how was this movie made? So of course, after the success of the original movie, it was decided that two sequels would be made, so this sequel was filmed at Fox Studios in Australia between March 1st, 2001 and it wrapped up on August 21st, 2002. And it was filmed back to back with the next sequel. And some scenes were also filmed at the Naval Air Station Armada in Alameda, California. So yeah, and filming was done, and the movie, of course, was premiered on May 7th, 2003 in Westwood, Los Angeles, California. And it had its worldwide release by Warner Bros. Pictures on May 15, 2003. And the film received generally positive reviews from critics, although most felt it was inferior to the original movie. It grossed $741.8 million worldwide, breaking Terminator 2 Judgment Day's record and becoming the highest grossing R-rated movie of all time until it was surpassed in 2016 by Deadpool. It was also the third highest grossing movie of 2003 behind Lord of the Rings, Return of the King and Finding Nemo. So, when it comes to this movie, so what is it about? So this movie takes place 6 months after the events of the original movie, The Matrix. And the freedom fighters Neo, played by my favourite actor Keanu Reeves once again, Trinity, played by once again Carrie-Anne Moss, and Morpheus, played once again by Lawrence Fishburne, continued to lead a revolt against Machine Army, unleashing their arsenal of extraordinary skills and weaponry against a systematic force of repression and exploitation. In their quest to save the human race from extinction, they gain greater insight into the construct of a Matrix and Neo's pivotal role in the fate of mankind. So when it comes to my initial reaction, guys, so I remember, of course, I watched this a long time ago when I was pretty young, and I gotta say that, I think it's a really good sequel, which in my opinion is definitely a very nice continuation of the story. So yeah, and as I touched on in my review for the original movie, in my opinion, the first movie did need sequels to help further answer some questions left unanswered in the first movie, and also because the war wasn't over yet. So yeah, it would make sense to do more stories, and they did with these two sequels. So what's great about it is, so once again, just like the first movie, there is great acting, so returning from the first movie, so yeah, Keanu Reeves, of course, comes back as Neo, and he's still got it, he's still amazing in the role, as always, and Carrie-Anne Moss is also still amazing as Trinity, one of my favourite female characters in cinematic history, and Lawrence Fishburne is still amazing as Morpheus, and, these three were perfectly cast as their characters, they really were, and also returning from the first movie is also Hugo Weaving, reprising his role as Smith, but things have changed a lot for Smith because after Neo destroyed his programming in the original movie, he was supposed to be wiped out from the system, but he was compelled to stay, of course. So yeah, and he comes back as a computer virus, and he has the ability to copy himself onto other avatars in the Matrix. So yeah. And so basically, guys, he's literally got a fate worse than death because he's literally become what he hates, being a virus. Because as he said in the first movie, guys, he hates viruses, and now he's become the very thing he swore to destroy. And I do also love as well how in this movie they actually had a bit of a detail with regards to Smith changing, because they changed his appearance, because compared to the first movie where he wore that green suit, sort of, that dark green suit, and those square shaped sunglasses, of course, and he of course had his earpiece, which he no longer has, as he says. in this movie, he no longer has his earpiece, and his suit is also all black this time. It's completely black and doesn't have dark green parts. It's now fully black. And also, his sunglasses are now no longer with square-shaped sunglasses. They instead have, like, you know, curves on them, kind of like the ones I'm wearing right now, really. And I gotta say, I definitely loved his new look in this. He looked really cool, in my opinion, yeah. Really, like, I loved his new costume. Just like I love the new costume to other characters too, yeah. Like, you know, for example, I love Trinity's, and also I love Neo's too. Especially, you know, how Neo looked like a bishop, which was definitely really cool symbolism right there with his new costume, which was, yeah, pretty amazing. But yeah, I really love Smith's new design. It was really awesome. And Hugo Weaving has still got it, Smith, in my opinion. Although, sadly, Smith didn't have very much scenes in the movie, Hugo Weaving has still got it, in my opinion. He was still amazing in the role. Always my favourite role of Hugo Weaving. And also as well, returning as well, is also Gloria Foster, may she rest in peace, as the Oracle. And just like the first movie, she only has one scene in this film, guys, where she interacts with Neo in the park scene. And they have a very nice conversation together. It was very nice to see her. And this was sadly, of course, her final film before she died, rest in peace, because she passed away in 2001, but she was able to film this scene before she died, and of course, due to not being able to complete her filming, they had to recast her in the next movie, The Matrix Revolution, so yeah, rest in peace, Gloria. But in this one scene, well, she was still great in the role, absolutely. The movie also introduces new characters, guys, who I definitely like the addition of. For example, I like the addition of Niobe, played by Jada Pinkett Smith. She was a very good supporting character, in my opinion. And I also as well like the addition as well of Lambert Wilson as a new villain called the Merovingian. Yeah, he was a pretty compelling villain, in my opinion. Yeah, I really like the Merovingian. Yeah, Lambert played him really well. Definitely. Played him very well. And this movie also introduces new agents as well, guys, because after the events of the original movie, The Matrix has upgraded the agents and created 3 new ones, being, of course, Agent Johnson, Agent Jackson, and Agent Thompson, played by Daniel Bernhardt, David A. Kild, and Matt McComb. And I think out of those 3, my favourite was probably Johnson. I really like Johnson, and the fact that Daniel Bernhardt is a stuntman in real life definitely, you know, helped out with the stunts the agent does. Absolutely. And the fight scenes as well. And when it comes to more of his crew, I did also like the addition as well of Harold Perrineau as Link. He was definitely a good addition to the cast as well, but I was disappointed that Tang didn't return, and because he died off screen. But I really wish that, you know, yeah, I wish he came back, but Link was a good replacement in my opinion. Harold Perrineau played him very well. And I think the reason as well why Tang did not return is also because his actor Marcus Chong had a bit of a creative difference with the Wachowskis about, you know, payments, because I think he wanted a larger paycheck for doing the sequels, but there was a bit of a disagreement and a bit of an argument, so he did not return. So it was written in the script that Tang died off screen, so that would make sense as to why Tang isn't there, really. But yeah, I'm so disappointed he didn't return. And we also get introduced as well to Tang's sister, which is of course Z, played by Nona Gay, who, as a fun fact, guys, is the daughter of singer Marvin Gaye, which is pretty cool. So we get more of Tang's family at least, which is a good thing, and yeah. And she's of course concerned for Link's safety because she lost both her brothers on the Nebuchadnezzar, you know, Tank and Dawes, so yeah, she has a right to be concerned. And there's other supporting characters too, but I did also like the addition of. For example, I liked Nathaniel Lees as Captain Mifune. He was very good in my opinion. And also, I also like the addition of Clayton Watson as the Kid, who is someone who was freed from the Matrix in between the events of the original movie and this movie. And if you guys have seen that collective of animated shorts called the Animatrix, it actually shows how he got rescued, and which is pretty cool. And yeah, that explains how he's in this movie. And there's also the addition of Gina Torres as Cass as well, which is cool. And also as well, Roy Jones Jr. as Captain Ballard, Harry Lennox as Commander Locke, and also I definitely like the addition of Cornel West as well as Councillor West, and also Steve Bastoni as Captain Soren as well. Yeah, there was lots of great actors who played it roles really well in this movie, really did. When it comes to the henchmen type of characters, the movie also introduced henchmen of a Merovingian, and 2 in particular were definitely, of course, the twins, who were played by real-life twins, being Neil and Adrian Raymond. And these twins were pretty cool. I did like how the ability to turn into, like, you know, like camouflage versions of themselves, and they could be unharmed by things, and they were definitely a pretty cool addition, really. Yeah, really fun to watch. I mean, pretty good fight scenes as well. And yeah, the whole cast was definitely good. And in my opinion, guys, the movie also introduced probably who is, in my opinion, the most underrated character in the franchise, which is Seraph. I really love Seraph, guys, played by Colin Cho. He's a really cool character. I love how he's lost with Oracle as her guardian, and his fight scenes are really good. I love the scene where he tests Neo to prove he's the one, which is really cool. And I also love the addition of Anthony Wong as Ghost as well. He's also an underrated character in my opinion. And if you guys have played that game called Enter Matrix, which was released, you know, to tie into Reloaded, this movie, he's definitely a pretty good character in that game, and it helps further develop his character and make him very likable. I also love the addition as well of Ian Bliss as another survivor called Bane. And in this movie, guys, Bane is unfortunately assimilated by Smith, of course. And this allows Smith to jack out of the Matrix into Bane's body. So this kills Bane, sadly, but Smith is in control of him, so Smith has managed to get out of the Matrix. And he does try to kill Neo with a knife, but he's stopped from doing it from other people coming up to Neo, of course. And yeah, and I gotta say that Ian Bliss did a really amazing job, you know, copying the mannerisms and the voice of Hugo Weaving. He really did. Like, did a really great job at it. And he was casted mainly because he resembled Hugo Weaving a little bit, and yeah, he was definitely a great casting for a role. Really was, like, wow. Now, what's also great about the film is aside from the cast, there's also really amazing action scenes, so many really fun scenes. So, for example, guys, my favourite scene in the film, guys, is undoubtedly of the Burly Brawl in the park between Neo and the clones of Smith. And he battles, like, over 80 clones, like, wow. And they did a very good job, you know, how they had more than one Hugo Weaving there, which was really cool. Because they, of course, had doubles of wearing, like, masks of Hugo Weaving, and also, there were some cases where Smith was also CGI in some scenes as well. And yeah, but that fight scene is just absolutely brilliant. It's the one scene I love to rewatch the most when I'm rewatching this movie. And I also as well definitely love the fight scene. I love how the film begins with an opening of Trinity infiltrating a building, which of course is revealed to be the building connected to the Source later on in the movie. And yeah, and it also has a really cool fight scene between Neo and the upgraded agent, which is really great to watch as well. Really amazing. And I also love the fight in the Meridian Chateau as well, which is really cool. I definitely like that. Speaking of Meridian, I like the addition as well of Monica Bellucci as Persephone. She was also a very good character as well. I like how she did help Neo, Trinity, and Morpheus find the Keymaker as well. I did like that. I also love the live addition as well of Randall Duck Kim as the Keymaker. He was also a very good addition to the cast as well. I definitely liked him as the Keymaker. And also as well, other fight scenes. Now, one fight scene I definitely do also love is definitely the three-way fight. Like, wow. That fight scene just blows my mind every time I rewatch it. It's just absolutely incredible for its time. It really is. It's also took a very long time to film as well. They've even built, you know, their own freeway to film that scene, which is pretty awesome. And yeah, and it definitely paid off really well. And I also as well loved Morpheus a lot in this fight scene, because the scene where he's fighting Agent Johnson on the lorry with his katana is probably my favourite Morpheus moment in the entire franchise, because it's just a badass moment, and the music as well definitely helps as well. Really amazing to see. And also the final act is also really good too as well. And I definitely as well love, I love the confrontation in the Source as well. And we got another fight scene with Smith, of course, in Mikado, which was definitely really good to see as well. And he was pretty deadly in that scene as well, absolutely. And when it comes to characters introduced, the end of the movie also introduces, of course, the creator of Matrix, which, of course, is the Architect, played by Helmut Bakatis. And I gotta say, guys, the Architect, in my opinion, is probably an example of a character who I don't mind sounding monotone or bland, because that's the whole point, guys, because he's a computer program. You know, he's not supposed to be a human, is he? So I can understand why he sounds monotone. And yeah. And he does have a bit of distaste for humans, so it would make sense why he doesn't want to sound like a human, of course. So that makes sense. And the role was actually offered to Sir Sean Connery, which is pretty cool. And yeah, rest in peace, Sean. But he, of course, turned it down, though. But Helmut was a great choice for the role, in my opinion. Yeah. Also, as well, other great things as well is also when it comes to there's also as well great music composed once again by Don Davis, and this time, guys, he collaborated with someone with a group called Juno Reactor, and the music was definitely really great to listen to. Really was. I mean, I love the Burley Brawl music, of course, which is definitely really amazing, and also there's also a song which is instrumental in this by a singer called Rob Dougal, called Furious Angel, which is definitely really great to listen to. Oh, I also love the fights, the music in the Chateau fight, which is really awesome. And also as well, the music on the freeway fight is also great to listen to as well. Really amazing. And there's also really memorable quotes, such as, for example, I definitely love Agent Smith's monologue about how he came back. So, because it goes like this, you know, I killed you, Mr. Anderson. I watched you die. With a certain satisfaction, I might add. And then something happened. Something that I knew was impossible, but it happened anyway. You destroyed me, Mr. Anderson. Afterward, I knew the rules. I understood what I was supposed to do, but I didn't. I couldn't. I was compelled to stay, compelled to disobey. And now here I stand because of you, Mr. Anderson, because of you. I'm no longer an agent of his system. Because of you, I'm changed. I'm unplugged. A new man, so to speak, like you, apparently free. Yeah, Smith's quotes are so memorable. They really are. And yeah, great to listen to. And also as well, when it comes to other great things in this film, guys, so, yeah, and the visuals are also very good too, in my opinion, for its time in 2003. I definitely think the CGI, in some cases, has aged very well. For example, the scenes in Zion, for example, which of course is the last human city on Earth. The CGI for that has definitely aged very well. And I like how this movie introduced us to many more things in the franchise and added more to the lore of it. So, for example, I love, of course, how we introduced Zion. We got introduced to it, and it's revealed to be an underground city, which is close to the core of the Earth to allow warmth for the humans who are living there. And also, as well, of course, more characters were also introduced, and we got to know more about the Matrix as well. So this is why, in my opinion, this sequel was very much needed, in my opinion. Yeah, really great sequel, in my opinion. And I also as well love the chemistry between Neo and Trinity. They have really great chemistry together as well, which is definitely great to watch. And yeah. And also as well, when it comes to other great things as well, the cinematography is also really great to the 2003 standards as well. And the cliffhanger is also pretty decent as well, guys, where of course, at the end of the movie, Morpheus' ship Nebuchadnezzar is sadly destroyed by Sentinels. But as they're escaping, Neo is able to sense machines and he's able to telepathically destroy them, but he unfortunately ends up in a coma. And at the end of the movie, it's revealed that the other ships were destroyed due to an AMP going off prematurely, and it's revealed that Bane set them off, and he's in a coma too. So yeah, the Bane Smith, of course, was responsible for killing the other ships. So yeah, goodness me. So he definitely, you know, was able to kill them in a very subtle way, of course, yeah, without revealing who he really was, yeah. And of course, he would later be exposed in the next movie, of course, yeah. So, when it comes to this film, guys, so, obviously, in my opinion, I think it's a great sequel, but, of course, I don't think it may be as good as the original movie by any means, of course. The original movie, in my opinion, will be my favourite Matrix movie, but, and the reason why is because there's some bad quotes I could say. So, for example, now, I want to say that Agent Smith is quite underused in this movie, so when it comes to this movie, guys, when we watching it, I noticed that he only had about 4 scenes in the film, which was a bit of a shame, because he, of course, appears at the beginning of the movie giving his earpiece to Neo before the upgraded agents arrive at the crisis meeting, where it's revealed that the machines are going to redesign in 3 days, of course. Then he's then seen a similarity in Bane. Then he appears in a Burley Brawl, and then he doesn't appear again until much later on, of course, in the corridor fight. So yeah, Smith was quite underused in my opinion, but not as much as the next movie, or thankfully. In addition, as well, there's some cases where CGI may not have aged very well, of course. For example, in the Burley Brawl fight scene in the park, you can probably tell that many of the shots are entirely computer generated, of course, and yeah, but I like to interpret that, guys, as a sign that the Matrix is having trouble rendering the scene due to there being so many Smith clones there. It'll probably make sense, really, in my opinion. And, yeah. So that will make sense. But, yeah, there's some cases where it may not have aged very well, which is understandable because it's 2003 standards. And there's also, as well, a pretty cringe scene, guys, which I think is pretty annoying to watch, which is probably, of course, the infamous dance scene. Yeah, that dance scene, of course, which takes place after Morpheus' motivational speech to a people of designers, is, in my opinion, pretty cringe. Like, it goes on way too long, and it's just something I don't really want to see, really. Like, in my opinion, they should have just, replaced that scene with more scenes from Enter Matrix. In my opinion, they should have added more scenes from Enter Matrix into this movie, really, instead of that dance scene. It would probably make a lot more sense, really, because those scenes from again, for the whole development characters who appear in it. So, yeah, I wish we included more of those instead of that dance scene, because it was pretty cringe, in my opinion. And it's one of those scenes that I like to skip when I rewatch a movie, because last night, guys, when I rewatched it, when it came on, I just fast forwarded it because it was pretty annoying, really. Yeah, when I look back at it. And also, while in this film, guys, Trinity, of course, also ends up dying in this movie due to being shot by Agent Thompson when she's falling off out of the building after completing a mission which couldn't be done by those who died from their ship being blown up in the final act of the movie. But Neo thankfully does save her. So yeah, he saves her life, thankfully, which is good, by taking out a bullet from her and then restarting her heart. So I'm glad that he did that. And yeah, but sadly, of course, in the next movie, she would end up dying again, which is a big shame, isn't it? So yeah, which kind of made Neo saving her life in this movie pretty pointless, really, to be honest. But nonetheless, guys, I still think this movie is very underrated, and in my opinion deserves a lot more love, because it's a great sequel, in my opinion, which was much needed. And yeah, and it's a sequel I like to defend. It's really fun to watch, guys. So I still watch it to this day, and I'll never stop rewatching it ever, really. It's really fun to watch. It doesn't deserve the hate, in my opinion. In my opinion, the one Matrix film that deserves the hate is, of course, last year's Resurrection, which was an absolute abomination. So yeah. But nonetheless, guys, I think this is a great sequel. I really love this sequel. And so, if you guys were wondering what I would give a Matrix Reloaded out of 10, well, after rewatching it several times, and also from last time's rewatch, I now give it a very, very good score of 8 out of 10. Yeah, I give it a very solid 8 out of 10, because I think it's a great sequel, in my opinion. I love it to this day. And of course, next week I'll be reviewing, of course, the third installment, which of course is a Matrix Revolutions. In my opinion, the film should have ended the franchise, and in my opinion, the true end to my canon of the franchise. So yeah. But nonetheless, guys, this is definitely a really great sequel, and it's been really fun to review, of course. Yeah, really great sequel, but deserves a lot more love. Absolutely. Yeah, really amazing sequel, in my opinion. Yeah, doesn't deserve the hate, really. Because like when it comes to bad qualities, I can get behind, the dancing because I fast forward it, and, maybe Smith deserve a bit more screen time. I'd like to see more of him conquering the Matrix, maybe, conquering it by assimilating more people. And the CGI may not have aged very well, but, sometimes it can only be noticeable if you pause it. For example, when it comes to a Smith clones or CGI, in my opinion, it's more noticeable if you pause it. If you just watch it, the CGI goes pretty fast, so you probably may not notice it on your first watch. But yeah, whenever I pause a movie, I do notice that sometimes the Smith clones are CGI, but yeah. But nonetheless, this is still a very good sequel, guys, and I love it to this day. So, guys, this is me doing my review from The Matrix Reloaded from 2003. So, drill, guys. Be sure to give this video a like. Also, leave those comments what you guys think of Matrix Reloaded. We'll see what your thoughts are in the comments below. Also, be sure to join Team Prime by pressing subscribe and what's coming in the future. If you would like to be a member, you can press on using Peter Lads, or you can all description, and free your mind.